Welcome to Expert Profiles Atlanta, where Atlanta's influencers and innovators share strategies for overcoming obstacles and achieving success in business and life. Here's your host, best-selling author and Atlanta influencer, Neil Howe.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is your host, Neil Howe, and today my special guest is Matt Anton. Matt is the owner with his brother Dan Anton of Atlanta SEO Marketing, and he helps businesses do more of what they love to do by going through his best SEO practices and web design and online marketing that he is able to do for them. He started this company with his brother, Daniel Anton, and he now has locations in Atlanta, New Jersey, and Jacksonville. And the company provides full service SEO and online marketing, including SaaS software, to thousands of happy, loyal clients each month. Welcome to the show, Matt Anton.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Neil. Great intro. I appreciate it. I'm just happy to be here.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, Matt. What got you started in this SEO business? I'm 34. I grew up playing video games, and I was pretty much like a typical. I was an alpha male sports guy who enjoyed playing video games. I did all those things, and I ended up going to college, and we ran out of money. I ended up $24,000 or so in debt at the College of New Jersey, which is a really good college in New Jersey. I had a really good GPA, but just couldn't afford it anymore. I ended up stopping, thinking at the time was just going to be a short hiatus. Obviously, as anyone knows, things, life takes a different turn. I ended up really losing my identity and ego in a period of a few years. You go from being the captain of all your teams, number 5 in your class, to all of a sudden being somebody who's just drinking, trying to get into bar fights, just miserable at life and eating cereal all day. And just really, I went from having a super structured life and and a really good self-esteem to essentially just being like, realizing one day that I was kind of becoming a turd. Basically, Dan, he had a different life trajectory. He excelled as well in school and sports growing up, but then he decided to join the military after 9/11. So he ended up actually getting stationed in Fort Benning because he's infantry. He's actually retired in Infantry Army Ranger Major, basically special forces. You ever see those programs? He's super hardcore. He's got all the credentials in the Army, and he did 2 tours in Iraq. But anyway, he told me, one day he was thinking about starting a social network for gamers. And for some reason that just, it is as meaningless as it could sound to somebody on the outside. When you have something that you can look forward to, in the moment, it really sparked something in me. And I started to really just consume as much as I could. I'm living in my mom's basement at the time. I'm just reading as much as I can. I'm testing as much as I can for free because I really didn't have much of a budget. And I'm helping other people do it along the way because I realized that people with real budgets actually needed what I was learning. I didn't even know what the hell online marketing or SEO was. I'm literally going into forums, copying emails, and individually sending them out. You know what I mean? So I was doing everything and anything I could do because I had more time and imagination than money. Long story short, I end up getting really good at it and more confident. I'm taking care of myself again. I'm working out. I end up becoming a Manny in the meantime to 5 autistic adults. So I'm learning how to love them and love myself again in the process. This is all ongoing. I leave that job. I cried when I left that job. They actually became almost like family, but I had higher aspirations in terms of professionalism, in terms of my skill set, which was SEO and online marketing. I became the online marketing manager of Liberty Travel. They have over 200 locations. They're a nationwide company. So I ended up playing with a very, very large budget, over $250,000 a month. Got to test out different things for SEO, pay-per-click. I revamped a lot of their pay-per-click strategies, SEO. They actually rank number 1 currently, I believe still, for travel agency. So that's a huge competitive term against billion-dollar companies. But yeah, I know it's kind of a lot of backstory to get to where I am now, but it really, I look at it and I have a new appreciation for when someone reaches out to me for help, because I know I'm actually now in a position to help them, right? You obviously can never help somebody unless you can help yourself. And I am very disciplined now in my own personal life, in terms of exercise, nutrition, spiritual, and professionalism and family. So that's really the crux of my life now. I have 2 daughters. I married my college sweetheart. And I love helping out my clients now. And I can kind of get into how I'm doing that for them.
Yeah, congratulations. I mean, that is something that probably a lot of people deal with, especially athletes or people that are used to being in competition and training. And if you stop that, your world kind of falls apart around you. But, your brother obviously continued to do that training, and, probably got a little word in your ear to get that regiment back in your daily life. But that's a great backstory. So, Matt, you are in New Jersey, is that right?
Correct, yes. Yep.
And your brother is here in Atlanta, but we're talking Atlanta SEO. So talk to me about the kind of clients that you help down here.
Yeah. So once we started to help more people, Dan is very creative and had a computer science background. So he started coming up with different software algorithms, things that combined repetitive tasks that could be automated at some level, and also combining cheap labor. So he's come up with all these ingenious software, and we still use a lot of them in-house as well, and they're used by thousands of people every month. But my bread and butter has really always been taking somebody by the hand who really, I really, as you can tell, Neil, I was texting you about the interview,
Mm-hmm.
So once I made this shift a few years ago, I go, why am I keeping an arm distance away from my clients, right? I need to pull them in and get them closer. So, I'm texting clients, I'm emailing them and calling them, obviously within reason. I'm not trying to be annoying. I just want to make sure that they understand that there's open communication. So the people that I've had really good success with over the years for Atlanta SEO have been businesses that have been burnt before in the past. These are companies, most people have had an SEO company before us. We're usually not the first. So my goal is to be the last, right? So when we take on a client, we give transparent reporting. We give a full custom private assessment of what's wrong with their website and online marketing. And SEO, as you know, used to really just be about a lot of spam on third-party websites. And thankfully, the industry has shifted and changed so much that technical SEO is actually fun again. And it's actually exciting. There's so many different things you can do on, especially a local business, even national too, to some level. Things like Google My Business, Bing. When we have this giant checklist that we work from to stay organized, because it's not obviously we're not performing brain surgery, but even brain surgeons, doctors, they work off of a checklist, not because they're not good enough to work without it. It's just that why waste the brain capacity for it, right? Why miss something? So every client we take on, we go through our checklist item by item. And within each checklist, there could be a subset of items. So for example, with Google My Business, that's one bucket, but within that, are they making posts? Did they add a business description? Did they add photos? Did they add videos? For technical SEO, did they add every single service that they offer on their website? Do they have every single service area? Did they combine the two? So for example, I took on one client in Atlanta, TV installation of Atlanta. And when he contacted me, very nice guy. You could tell he works his butt off. Not a native English speaker by any means, but he is a hard worker. His name is Daniel also, ironically. His website was only 20 pages big, and that's typical. But the problem is that he had a giant service area. He had a service area of 300 towns, and he offered 2 services. So basic math says we can have 600 new pages on the website. Mm-hmm. So just doing things like that, Well, when he contacted me, he was very skeptical. Well, I don't know. I tried SEO, but you realize how long and how time consuming and much effort it takes to create 600 pages for somebody. But when you do that, you literally can't be beat. You now have the most hyper relevant web page on the internet about your business, right? So all you have to do is just get in front of the right people, and obviously you optimize it for organic SEO, but we also do AdWords too on a page level. I can't shut up enough about AdWords now. So that's been one of the coolest things we're doing is a 1-2 punch. Setting up organic SEO for clients by building out every single service plus service area, combining them, and then intelligently running ads through AdWords, because Google knows on a zip code level where people are searching from. So for example, if you are in Conyers, Georgia, and you search TV installation, you do not have to add the geolocation to your search. Google knows where you're at. We can then display to them a TV installation Conyers ad, which takes them to a TV installation Conyers page. It's been really, really fun, and it's super powerful. And if more people aren't doing it after listening to this, they're going to want to do it, because you cannot, unless you start advertising on a street level, you can't get more hyper relevant and local than this.
Yeah, and that's extremely important. Local is definitely something that all these businesses, they drive the economy. So to help those local businesses has got to be very satisfying. So talk to me about the Google My Business, which is the map pack. How does somebody get on the map?
Yeah, see, that's a really, really good question, and it's a common question just because it's of its nature. It's so powerful. Everyone wants to be at the top, and just to sort of segue into another point is that when someone talks to me on the phone or email and they say, well, I just want to slightly improve in this, or I only have to be a little bit better than my competition, or do I really need an AMP mobile website? It looks kind of good. Those are all huge turnoffs to me, right? Mm-hmm. Because in my own personal life, I have made the mental switch over to excellence, right? And it sounds cheesy, but action is really the only thing that matters. Like for me, I probably addicted at some point to video games when I was depressed. So again, I cut out hobbies, everything. So when a business owner, and I talk to him or her, and they start using words like just, or, just a little bit better, things like that. So that's a huge turnoff to me. So the way you get to the top is literally doing all these small things over and over again correctly. It's nothing magic. It's not sexy. It's literally going through the checklist. I mean, obviously a huge one is reviews. That's something that we can't control. You have to do right by your customers and solicit and get reviews. Video testimonials could be really good. I currently have 7 of those. I'm very proud of that. So those are obviously very much more difficult to acquire. And Google's just tracking everything. They're tracking click-through rate. If someone searched for something, did they click on your website? If no, that's probably telling them that your website is noise, or it could be noise, right? It's not a good signal. Now, if you did get the click, are you just clickbait? Are they staying on your website for a long time, or are they bouncing right off? So everything is holistic. Now, people do want to rank for X keyword, but in order to do that, they unfortunately or fortunately really have to do everything correctly at this point. You have to have all your ducks in a row, from web design, from conversion, from technical to promotion. And a lot of people cut corners on the promotional side, Neil. That's typically what we see. People don't know what the hell they're buying every month. People say, oh, well, they got me some results, but it's black box. And if you're buying a mystery sausage, they're going to start putting fillers in there. They're not going to put organic free range chicken in there. So you just have to be careful. Those are definitely great qualifier questions, but I think if you start putting an agency's back against the wall for X keyword or X result, some will be desperate enough to do whatever the hell it takes to get that, and they're basically starting to play Russian roulette with your website, and that's obviously no good.
Right, and you talked about, back 10 years ago that basically it was spamming, outside sites with all these links pointing to yours. Does that kind of stuff work anymore? I know there's a bunch of softwares out there years ago that used to do that.
Well, It can, but the people let's put it this way, it can work, but the people it can work for are people who would never do it. So it can work for authority websites. So for example, if the Atlanta Journal or New York Times or any of these large publications were to do it, they would probably be able to get away with it, at least for a little while. But if Joe Schmo's website, who doesn't have much history or links back to it or trust or traffic, so you have to remember, if you're not getting traffic to your website, but all of a sudden you have 1,000 links pointing to it, that's fishy. We know that intuitively as humans, and obviously the engineers at Google are way smarter than myself, right? So, you have to, the websites that can get away with it are people who wouldn't do it anyway. It can work at some level. You have to try to get some relevancy and things like that. But again, all these things are short-lived tactics. They're really designed for, sacrificing tomorrow's gold for today's silver type of clients. The people who after 15 days tell you they're not number one or on page one, and they're scaring the hell out of agencies into doing it. It's really not the agency's fault. I blame the people, right? Just like George Carlin blamed people for the politicians, because that's what the hell we're producing. I blame the people for telling SEO agencies and marketers, you have to get results within 45 days or I'm canceling. So what are they going to do? These people, I'm in a position where I'm not financially under the gun. You know what I mean? I don't say that to brag. I'm just saying that's because I can get on my high horse. Imagine talking to somebody who needs that for rent. They're going to do whatever the hell it takes to spam the search engines to get that client at least a chance to get to page one, if not number one.
Exactly. So there's a lot of mistrust within the SEO industry, but you rank number one in Atlanta for Atlanta SEO, both on the map and in organic. So obviously you know what you're doing. What really is working now? What is the main thing that you have done to get those kind of results?
So one of the coolest revelations I had a few years back, I believe when we started this process 4 or 5 years back, was I really wanted to, just like you, I really wanted to get into storytelling, right? Because I believed, those are the best movies, The Punisher, the origin stories of these Marvel heroes. Those are the best stories, at least in my opinion. Now, again, my story is nowhere near as cool as that, but I believe Dan has a pretty cool story. Not a lot of people have been in war, you know what I mean? Twice. So I started reaching out to real website owners in Georgia and said, hey, I have this great story about my brother, Daniel Anton. He's a 2-time Bronze Star recipient. He's an Iraq war veteran. Can I tell his story on your website? And to help you out, I will share the story as well, and I'll run AdWords to the story as well for your website. So it's a win-win for both of us. The worst type of people are trying to get something for nothing. When they are pitching me every day, I want to add a post to your website, a guest post or whatever the hell they're trying to pitch. And it's just not adding a lot of value to my life. So whenever I would reach out to these people, I wanted to add value to their life in the sense of adding a good story on their website that was well edited and written with images, and one that actually financially benefited them, right? I wanted to give them traffic that was going to help their website and push their agenda as well. So speaking to their interests as a marketer, we understand we have to do that as well. But yeah, that's been the biggest win. And, I just started doing it. I really just wanted to get out there and tell a story. And I started noticing that it started picking up more and more steam. And again, around the same time, I made the mental switch to texting and calling my clients rather than stiff arming them away from me. And we started getting more and more reviews. The more, it's so true, man. The more you start really caring about other people, the more they're going to care about helping you, right? You can't ask for fire before you put the wood in. You got to put some work in and then ask for some help.
Right, that's a realization I think that everybody has to come to. There's so many people before us that have realized this, and there's plenty of text out there that says the same thing, but you actually have to have that click in your mind that you are putting other people's interests ahead of your own, to get the reward that you're looking for.
Yeah.
So that relationship is extremely important. Talk to me about how that all worked for you. So you write a great story, you put it on somebody else's website that's linking back to yours, and then you run ads or traffic to that page?
Correct. Yeah. So that is just one piece to the puzzle, though. So the same exact way that we are number one is basically the internal system that we use for clients now. So storytelling is our crux of organic promotion. We do that for clients as well. So if we have a client in New Jersey, we will get them listed on New Jersey websites. We have a client in Jacksonville or Florida, we'll get them listed on Florida websites. If we have a client in Georgia, we'll get them listed on Georgia websites or Atlanta websites. So we try to stay relevant in terms of geolocation. And if it's a national company, like I'm working with a medical company now, we will try to get specific health or medical, or at the very least business related websites. So we try to have some type of relevancy and consistency in terms of the organic promotion. But in terms of what we can control, which is a lot now as a webmaster, we can add code to our website, which we've done called Schema. It's basically advanced HTML that you can add on your website. You can add it on the homepage, product pages, articles, all these different things. Then you also want to, I touched on it before, is increase the time on site. You know, we have time on our Atlanta SEO website that I've seen people spend 30 minutes on it, right? So sometimes people only spend 30 seconds on our competitors' websites. So if you go to leave the website, I don't know if this is going to change in the foreseeable future, but you will see my beautiful bald head on there saying, hey, don't go yet. Before you leave, this is who I am. This is what I'm all about. This is why I want to earn your business. So that alone, literally, people have called me on the spot and said, I've only picked up the phone and called you because that video of yourself popped up and you seemed really genuine. So again, it's doing all these things to separate your website from a lead generation website. The farther we can get away from a lead generation website, the better, you know? So that's what we've done. We've told a story on Atlanta SEO. We have video on there. We have real client success stories on there and testimonials. You know, and it just adds up to Google trusting the website, people having a really good experience on there, and it ranking number one. That is the byproduct of it.
Well, I really love this. I love the personal touch that you have been able to put into your marketing. How are you able to get that same kind of personal experience in your client sites?
That's a great question. So I am definitely annoying with that. So when I take on a client, I talked to one woman, you know, I wasn't trying to be mean. I just said, you know, the website looks like a lead generation website. It had stock photos everywhere and just like a contact form. You know, you didn't know really what you were getting into as the prospect. And I told her, I said, you know, it's not circa 2005 where if you just have a contact form, people are going to fill it out. People are getting more savvy every day. People are very jaded, and rightfully so. Our time is very precious. So I am annoying. I tell my clients, you have to get naked, just like I did. And I lead by example with that. So I say, hey, you see my video up there. It's very low budget, and it's probably cringy at some level, but it's very real. So you can put together a more professional one if you choose. Like, some people obviously have to have a certain level of professionalism. I probably will redo it at some point. But that is a great question, and I always try to tell them, I need photos of you. I need your backstory. Go back to kindergarten. I don't care. They go, well, what does it matter? I go, it matters. You know, somebody might read it and decide to do business with you, and also get a video up there. So it's been a big win. You know, Sean Wheeler, one of my clients, is a national renowned, recognized hypnotherapist. He's been on CNN, Fox. You know, he's been on all these different shows, and one of his biggest wins is adding his exit video on his website. So if you're on his website, heartbreakhypnotist.com, and you go to leave, you're going to see a beautiful video of Sean speaking to his prospects, and his conversion rate is through the roof. He is just completely dominating his market.
Well, that's awesome, and a great tip to take away, that's for sure, is have an exit video. So people are thinking about moving away to check somebody else out, you have that right message for them.
Yeah.
This is great stuff, Matt. Talk to me about some of your other clients that you've worked with. What kind of issues? Is there anybody that really stands out that you made an impact for? What kind of issues were they having? How were you able to help them? And ultimately, what was their outcome?
Yeah, so one of my favorite clients is Premier Surfaces. So they were actually with a more successful SEO and online marketing agency at the time than myself, but they slipped through the cracks, right? They had a less personal approach, and again, everything's starting to. In hindsight, I see what happened now. I made the mindset shift. I was texting Ashley, talking to her. I really want to help you. I know I can help you. I got in there and, I updated the WordPress core files, just out of habit. I don't know if you've ever been in the back end of WordPress. I don't know. It's like some weird tick I have. If I see an update, I click on it. So I did that and I crashed the website. What had happened is the company before her had not updated any plugins, themes, WordPress files for over a year. And I was really handed a turd sandwich. Luckily, I took a backup, but it was just such a nightmare. They were dead in the water. They had a billboard for a website. And now today, they have a beautiful website. I worked with the web designer they worked with, and they are now dominating. They actually got acquired by a larger company, and they have 17 locations. So they had 4 when they hired me about 2 years ago, and they really weren't doing well. If you look in SEMrush, you can actually see it. You can see the spike, semrush.com. When they hired me, I believe it was December 2016. And you can see it's just been on a rocket ship ever since, following best practices for every single location. They're dominating for Countertops plus their city, right? Countertops Chattanooga, Countertops Alpharetta, Countertops Birmingham, Countertops Rochester. So, and they're still growing. We're not done. We're doing AdWords now, intelligently as well, the way I described it earlier, on a local level, making sure that we're matching up ads to people actually in their true area. So yeah, they've been acquired by $1 billion conglomerate. So I that's one of my biggest successes in terms of, it feels like an intimate relationship. Obviously with Liberty Travel, getting them to rank for travel agency against really, really, really big companies, is one of my proudest organic SEO accomplishments. But in terms of a whole ROI and a business being acquired and bought and still growing, Premier Surfaces, hands down, great Georgia business.
Great results. And for companies or business owners out there that are listening to this and they think, well, I don't really have a story about my business. Were you able to get a story about Countertops out there?
Yes, I was actually. So I pushed for it, and I got a story about Eric. Tryon, I believe his last name is. I don't want to butcher it. Good looking guy, CEO, young guy. He's putting himself out there. He's making deals. He's a veteran in the industry. So yeah, I studied him. I went on his LinkedIn and I learned more about him. And if you were to look up Eric Tryon, Premier Surfaces, you would see some of those stories still floating around. So we've been posting them every month for them for 2 years, right? So not all of them are always focused around Eric or people. Some of them are focused on product and benefits and features, which is important as well. That's a story in itself. So there are companies who really want to focus more on the product, and we can do that as well. I used to just kind of be too rigid about it, where it has to be you, which I've done for them. But now I've loosened up some and said, you know what? If you're not comfortable, but you're successful, I'm going to trust your judgment as well, because you're already successful. But the more naked you can get, the more open you can get, the better results you will have every time.
Well, ultimately, people want to do business with people, not a website or a business name. It comes down to that transactional level, and you want to be able to talk to somebody.
Exactly.
So, Matt, obviously being number one in Atlanta for SEO is quite an undertaking and a result for yourself. I'm sure people will easily be able to find you, but give them your contact details anyway if they want to reach out to you.
Sure. Again, my name is Matt Anton. Client SEO is my focus. I focus on it 100% exclusively. I do some testing on some national websites and affiliate websites, but everything I do with clients, I do transparent reporting. So if you are interested in high-end organic SEO and high-end AdWords, Google AdWords pay-per-click management, please reach out to me. You can just Google me, Matt Anton, or you can go to one of our agency websites, which is Atlanta SEO, atlantaseo.marketing, and you can simply give a call, or you can fill out the form, or you can send a direct email, contact@atlantaseo.marketing, contact@atlantaseo.marketing, and you will get a reply.
And you deal with high-end clients that have a budget and are ready to take your advice and really work on your marketing, right?
Correct. But I also do have something I believe that is affordable for nearly everyone. So I don't know if this is going to change. It might. I mean, my lowest package is $575 a month, which is extremely affordable. I'm thinking of doing away with it and moving up again. Again, that TV installation person I mentioned, he did not have a monster budget, but he's gotten monster results, right? He's on the first page for nearly every phrase for TV installation, and the AdWords is hyper targeted as well. So I wouldn't say, obviously budget matters. I'm not a magician, but because I've gone into the weeds doing this for quote unquote free back in my mom's basement over 10 years ago, I have a big heart. I want to help people, but at the same time, if somebody has a budget and they're sincere, then it's so much fun for me. They become the next premier services. I can't thank them enough. They just keep increasing their budget because they keep getting better results as well. So somebody who understands that this is more of a long-term play, the 45-day stuff or I'm out, that scares me and it hurts me inside and makes me want to throw spam at the website, which I will not do. And I protect myself from people like that by only doing transparent reporting. That's to protect me and the client, right? Because if you start not reporting, you can skip a month or you could do whatever the hell you want. So my word to my clients is every single month you will know exactly what's happening for your website, and you'll actually get a video report over my shoulder month one of everything with screenshots of everything we're doing for you, because we know that it's hard to see light at the end of the tunnel if you don't know. I know because I've done this, 10 times over for so many different clients over a decade, but they don't know that. That's why in the first 30 days, I want to make sure that they see all the hard work and actual work and actions going into their campaign, not just, cheap words.
Well, Matt Anton, it has been a pleasure. If you're looking for real results from a real person, make sure you reach out to Matt and, go and check out his website. Anyway, make sure you catch that exit video. Something that you can implement maybe on your site as well. Matt, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you today. Thank you for all your advice.
Thank you very much, Neil. I sincerely appreciate it.
And to our listening audience, if you like what you hear, hit that like button and share, and we'll see you next time on the show.
Thank you for listening to Expert Profiles Atlanta with Neil Howe. To learn more about the resources in the show or to listen to past episodes, visit expertprofilesatlanta.com.